Good
Hi,
morning.
good morning. Why did I do that? Oh, you were doing that before backstage. How are you guys? How are you, Mai-Liis? How are you guys?
Well, I'm good. I know
Um,
we've been chatting a little bit, and I know you're not so good because you're struggling to get a
Overwhelmed.
few rush jobs out for Rip Fest, which
Well,
is
let me
coming up.
see. Let me say this. It's beginning to look a lot like Ribfest, right? So yeah, I'm knees deep in Ribfest stuff this week, and now I sent in a whole bunch of things to print last Friday, and then this morning I woke up, opened my computer, and there was a whole bunch of jobs rejected, sent back to me, so I gotta adjust and try to do that quickly. So I'll be in and out this morning. My lease will be doing most of the interview. I want to say, don't forget to get your midway tickets. We have the midway tickets now. They're available for sale at Little Caesars in Cornwall, or online on the Cornwall Ribfest website, cornwallribfest.com. And yeah, so pre-order your tickets. They're $30 in advance. It's for unlimited rides,
Hmm.
and $40 at the door. So it's a $10 savings. So just get your tickets in advance.
Now, before I let you go, July 14th to the 20th is Rip Fest Community Cookout. I have
Yum.
no, I have no idea what that's all about. So take it away, Julia. What is it?
My lease. Where have you been in the last 3 years? It's been going on for like, this is the third year.
Well, I kind of roughly know, but you're the master. You know everything about it because you're dealing with it. So take it
So
away, Julia.
the Ripfest Community Cookout is something that was implemented in 2019, 2020, when the pandemic hit, because there was no Ribfest, right? So the Optimist Club had lost their main fundraising event.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
so I think it was an idea coming from Lee Theodore, who's going to be on the show next week, Citizen of the Year. And
Wow, we're
yeah,
honored.
and Hassan from Schnitzels, and Terry had come with this idea where the restaurants really rallied around Ribfest and offered a whole week of different barbecue stuff
Mhm.
that people can go in and eat. And it's also a contest at the same time. So if you go there and you take that offering, or some restaurants offer like one or two choices,
Yeah.
some restaurants it's the entire menu. It's different from restaurant to restaurant. The complete list is on the website. There's 19 restaurants participating this year. Anyways, if you take a plate from those offerings,
Mhm.
then you get a ballot to you can win $1,000. So at the end of the week,
Oh,
there's no, actually it's at Ribfest. It's going to be done at Ribfest this year.
okay.
The $1,000 is going to be drawn uh, on the first day of Ribfest. So then you have
Okay.
$1,000 that you can spend that
Buying ribs.
you could eat ribs galore. But anyways, it's a super cool little venture. The Optimist Club gets a little percentage of, I think it's 10% of anything that's being sold that week, and it's a
Okay.
huge success. Usually, people really rally behind us and partake in the offerings. There's like wonderful barbecue to be had. Like I hear every year, I have to do it this year. I haven't tried them yet, but Simply Jennifer makes a rib that's not a rib because it's vegetarian at their
Yep.
store, right? So it's like I'm not sure what she makes it with, but it's
Wow.
apparently delicious. So I got to try them this year. Got to try a whole bunch of things. But yeah, that's happening this week later, from the 14th to
To
the
the
the 20th.
20th. So the website again to go get the details is
Cornwallribfest.com.
perfect. Yeah, and then
So
Rib
on that
Fest
note,
comes after that.
yep.
And then
Yeah, it
the
confuses people. People are a lot like they're seeing the community cookout and them like, oh, there's no Ribfest this year. No, 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 no. Ribfest is happening. It's happening in a big way this year. Like it's a big return. We're celebrating 10 years of
wow.
Ribfest. And so it's going to be a big, big, big party. I mean, people are ready to party.
Yeah, like this past weekend, there was the Pride event too.
Yeah.
I mean, people were in the park. It was fun. People were still like not. They're still. spread apart, not social. It was actually very safe because people were not on top of each other. But
Mhm.
I don't know about Ribfest. I'm sure there's going to be many more people than was there this past weekend, but it was a really good event too. Good
Cool.
turnout, a lot of vendors, great acts. Oh my God, the drag kings, amazing. I was like, yeah, they were really, really good. And
Nice.
the drag queens, and it was a very good event.
Good. All right. So on that note, I will be in and out, like I said. So I'm
Hmm.
gonna bring our guest. You're gonna introduce her, and I'm gonna remove myself, but I'll keep listening. So if there's anything, and I'll try to post the comments as I see them.
Yeah, if there's any questions, or if somebody wants to come in and ask her a question or something, because today's one of those days that I'm hoping people are going to be interactive and come in and
Yeah.
talk to us, and our guest, who is Creddy Lad Medium.
Good morning.
So I'm just going to give a quick update. Like, we met a few months ago. For those who don't know, my oldest son passed last November at the age of 33 due to a massive heart attack, and it's been a really rocky road for me. My dad passed October 3rd. Christian passed November 24th, and actually February 3rd, my sister-in-law's mother-in-law passed. So we had three. So hopefully they come in threes, and that's it for now. But so my daughter is in Calgary, and so is my youngest son, and they were very close to my oldest son, who lived out there too. So my daughter wanted to make sure that Christian was okay. So we contacted this wonderful lady here, Credit Led Medium, and we were able to communicate with Christian and
Yes.
my dad. And I don't know, some of the things you were saying still give me goosebumps whenever I think about it, especially that one thing when I asked you simply, is Christian still listening to his music? And I wasn't giving you any clues on what kind of music or anything. And I remember you were laughing because you're looking up and saying, he's looking at me and he's laughing, and he says, do this sign and they'll understand. And then you said, I have no idea what I'm doing, and I probably look completely stupid doing it, but he says, do this. Yeah. And and that is a sign. Like, he was into rap music, and he always did that. Every photo, even when I see my kids now, like, they'll be doing this because that's Christian. And you did that. And as far as I know, you had no idea what it was. But
No, I'm not into the rap stuff, so I have no clue
And
what
and
they do.
that's why, that's why I
Yeah.
said, is he listening to his music? And I'm like, okay, I'm not giving her any hints as to, it could be country, it could be anything. But you came up with that symbol, and it's like gives me goosebumps even now. But now that I gave the kind of backstory of how we met, I'm gonna let you just say a few words about yourself, a quick bio of who you are and what you do.
Yeah. Well, I work at a hospital full time, and I live in Glen Robertson in the North End. I'm a mother of one child of myself, seven stepkids.
Whoa.
I've been a medium for quite a long time. I've had this ability since the age of 9, and I've gone into the tarot card reading for like over 10 years now.
Wow. Wow. So I've got a lot of questions here. And hopefully people will comment, and send in some questions. And if you even want to come onto the show, Julia's Julia's kind of out of the picture right now because she's fixing some rush jobs for Ripfest, but she is going to keep an eye out if somebody's asking questions. So you're a medium, and sometimes you hear of psychics. I always thought it was psychic medium, but is psychic and medium two different things? And if so, what does that mean?
You have a psychic and you have a medium, then you can actually have both too as a medium, psychic medium.
Okay.
But basically, a psychic is anyone who has like a clairvoyance, telepathic capabilities, but a lower level of energy that they are capable of connecting with. A
Okay.
medium is somebody who has an extremely high level of energy that they're connected with.
Okay.
So it's that we're capable of connecting with the low and the high, hence the fact medium.
Okay, I get
So
it.
yeah. So, but the thing is, though, to become a medium is that not only do you have to have the psychic abilities, but you got to have the intuition. You got to really feel or see on the spiritual side. So,
Okay, so it is kind of two different things, but it can combine as well.
yeah.
All right, I get it. And the mediumship, is it inherited? And I know you said that you kind of got that since the age of 9, but is it something you inherit? How did you know at the age of 9 that you had it? And like, how did that come about?
Well, at the age of 9, my grandfather died.
Okay.
So he lived in Newfoundland, and I lived in Quebec back then. So he actually came to see me at night, but my body was completely frozen in time. I couldn't move. I couldn't do anything, but he was right there, right beside my bed, and saying to me, I am so sorry that I have to leave you. You know, you're the best granddaughter that I could ever have. Please, whatever you do in life, do not lose your French. You are going to need it.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and he just gave me this big hug and a big kiss, and then he left. And ever since that day, it's like as if the veil was always open to me. But as a child, like, of course, somebody that you know and that you love is very comforting. But
Hmm.
when you see other people, it gets to be scary. Like, okay, what is this? Like, I didn't ask for this, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
So, especially back then, being a Roman Catholic, it's like, okay, like, am I being possessed? What's
Oh,
going
yeah.
on? But as a teenager, that's where it became more stronger for me, and I was capable of, and I started to open up more.
Hmm.
Like if I saw somebody and I said, listen, like, I'm really, really sorry to say this, but I see so and so beside you. They have a message for you. And some people would just break down and cry or just stare at me frozen, as others would be like, you have no right to tell me that.
Hmm.
So it was very, balanced.
So like, yeah, because the soul came through and wanted you to tell the person, but it's scary because they may not want to hear it, right? And you didn't want
Exactly.
to, yeah, because some people may
Yeah,
not believe.
exactly.
But how do you receive the messages? How does it even happen? Like you're saying that they would come through to you, but how? I'm
It,
completely amazed at this.
well, when people die, they still leave like an imprint here on Earth.
Okay.
So that little piece of energy, okay? But being a medium, because you have that higher level of awareness, for me, when I receive the messages, I feel an extreme pressure on my head.
Okay.
So it's like as if somebody is really pushing me down into the ground. That's how I know they're here, that somebody wants to talk to me. But as an adult, I learned to kind of like block it because, wow, like in my 30s, I finally knew how to block it. But
Okay.
I'd be waking up like at midnight all the way till 4 o'clock in the morning, people wanting to send messages, or I see other people's lives and try to understand who they are, sort of thing. So yeah, it was sleepless nights, a lot of sleepless nights. So, but
Yeah.
now I'm capable of saying, you know what, I work 9 to 5.
Yeah. Oh
So
my
yeah,
God.
yeah. So yeah,
Yeah, that's kind of, yeah, and that's a hard thing to do because I know for me and Julia too. Like, I mean, we have our own businesses and
I'm
we are
coming
supposed,
for it a minute because it's so funny. Like,
well, we're supposed to work 9 to 5 too, but we're having a hard time blocking that off. I'm glad you're able to do
so
it with
you
the
can't make
spirit world.
you can't do
um,
boundaries with the spirit world. That's super interesting.
yeah. You have to set boundaries because if not, they can be very intrusive, very intrusive,
Wow.
very intrusive. Especially in that I work at the hospital when they're palliative. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
that's very. It's. You're like, okay, here they come. It's like when you even have to go into the room to just even see how the patient is. Sometimes I can see, their wives, their sisters, their mothers right beside their bed.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
So, yeah. So,
I have a
and
weird
and I
question
can't
that
and I can't go up to them and say, "Your dad is here, your mother's there, don't worry, you've got somebody to guide you," because
yeah, Yeah.
not everyone believes. So
I had a weird question. So
mhm.
does it happen that someone that you work with is kind of in between?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Wow.
Yeah. So
What
you
do you
can
mean
actually
in between?
Like in between, if somebody is about to die or will die
Yeah, because they're
eventually, like, are
palliative.
you kind of like in between two worlds, right?
you actually feel it, you sense it. It's like, again, like the pressure starts into my body, like onto my head, like, and when you see that they have a loved one near them, my body just tends to enlighten more.
Hmm.
So, and more awareness. So
Wow. All right, I'm
Wow.
off.
Wow, like, that's amazing, like, wow. So you actually see the form of the person beside them, or you actually see what they look like, or
sometimes I do, sometimes it's just like that energy field, because some people, like, especially when they're at the edge of dying,
yeah.
they're mostly there. But when you know that it's like, okay, well, I think they're going to be passing within the next week, 2 weeks, you kind of like just feel that energy that's there, the presence. So, but I don't physically see them until it's close to the end. So,
Oh my goodness. So we have Nancy Kana just popped up and said, "My father has come to visit often, and I am wondering if he is around now. Also wondering if the new treatment will work." I'm not sure what treatment she's talking about.
yeah. And is she referring to the father for the treatment, or is she referring to somebody else?
I'm not sure. We'll see if she puts anything more than that.
But
I'm not
yes,
really
the
sure.
spirit world will visit you very often, especially if you have that good connection, the love, the friendship. They will be with you, especially if you ask for them, they will be there.
See, that's the one thing with Christian, with my son, like, I'm constantly his pictures beside me, and what's really weird is he would call me every single day. Like, I talk to my kids, like, they're in Calgary, so we would talk every day, especially Christian. I'd get maybe 2, 3 calls a day, letting me know how his day's going and what he's done and stuff. But now, like, I just wish that phone would actually my real phone would ring and his voice would come on, but what
Mm.
I hear all the time is my phone ringing, but at a far, far away, kind of in my head.
Yeah,
And some days it is so loud that I go to look at my phone to see if it's actually my phone. So I'm truly believing that he's still reaching out to call me to let me
they
know how
do.
he's doing. And
Yeah.
and that's what I'm pretty well I'm always saying is, like, Christian, you're trying to let me know that you're having a good day and everything is going well, because sometimes it's so loud, but yet it's not even my phone. So it's got to
No,
be him.
it is him. I can guarantee you that it's definitely him. So to just, state that, hey, don't worry, I'm okay, I'm
Mhm.
here. So, yeah, I know he was really close to you, still is.
Yeah, he
But
was. My kids are
yeah,
all so close and they were close to him too, but that is just eerie because I'll be
yeah,
somewhere and all of a sudden, like, I'll go looking for my phone, but it's
mm,
not ringing,
no,
but I can hear it. It's super weird.
yeah, you feel like you're
Nan
going crazy, but you're not.
Well, at first I thought,
Yeah,
is it, I think it's called tinnitus or something where you hear ringing in the ears, right? So I'm
yeah,
like, I know I don't have that, and it's not there all the time. It's just every now and then it rings really loud. But Nancy's come back and says, "My father passed 40 years ago. The treatment is for me."
okay,
So again, I'm not overly
yeah,
sure what she's meaning by that. Is the treatment working?
I think she wants an answer for her, but I don't think you can just go and give an answer like that without seeing a person, right?
exactly. And I'd have to have a session with her to
Right.
connect with her
Yeah.
one on one. So yeah, sorry.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, because I was wondering about that. So what else do we have? Yeah, when someone asks you to reach their loved one, do they always come through, or are there times when you're not able to reach them?
It depends on how early they've passed away. So let's say if someone has passed yesterday, from now
Okay.
till a good month or two. It's a bit iffy because they're transitioning,
And
you
what does
know.
that mean? What does that exactly the transitioning mean?
So the transitioning is basically almost the same as the 7 steps of grieving,
Okay.
as you and I would when somebody passes away. But for them, it's basically the same thing because some of them are still in shock, like, where am I? Like, am I still here? Sort of thing, or that
Okay.
denial for the fact that, okay, like, why? Like, how did this happen? I'm not dead. I'm still alive. You know.
Okay.
So it's there. So that there's all that still goes through, but at the same time, it's um, because they're trying to process all this too, right? At the
Just
same
like we
time.
are.
Exactly. So there was one woman who contacted me, and it wasn't that too far along. And when I was connecting with the person, it was a lot of very in and out. But when you watch a movie and you get like little spurts of like what's happening, then all of a sudden you're back here, and then
Mhm.
you're back there. It's the same scenario. So you're really trying to connect with that person, but they're only giving you a glimpse instead of
Okay.
somebody who's passed like over a year, that you can actually have that communication. You can see them, you can feel them, and yeah, it's not the same. So
Because
it's like the energy, like when the lights go off and on at the
okay.
beginning. That's basically what it is. So,
'Cause they're so busy doing everything else.
oh yeah,
Is there any instances where, or is there a time that comes where you cannot no longer reach people?
nope, that's impossible. They're always there because they leave that imprint with us all the time.
Uh-huh.
So, and their energy levels are always around. So, it's basically like saying, okay, well, there's no stars in the universe. Well, there is.
Hmm.
It's the same thing as their souls.
They're
So,
always there.
yeah,
Wow.
Super interesting.
And they say that, when they yeah, because somebody was saying it's like moving to a new apartment. There's all these things you've got to do. You've gotta hook up the phone, and you've gotta move in your furniture, and there's all these things, so they're kinda doing all this stuff to settle in as well.
that's right. Yeah,
And then they say that you go through a life review.
yes.
What does that mean?
So basically, you're going from birth till death. Same
Okay.
thing. Same thing as the living. You're living your life, you're growing, but they actually get to see, especially because they get to be reincarnated if they want later on. So they get to come back to us in any shape or form as they wish. They can even come back as what I like to call a guardian angel for somebody else, as much
Okay.
as they can still come back and relive their life all over again.
Oh,
But they have to make those changes. So let's say, if, for an example, someone was a real alcoholic in their life, they get to relive that to see how they were, what they've done to others, because you know so they get to experience that all over again, to say, hey, like, do you see anything wrong with this, or do you not see anything wrong with that, sort of thing. So it kind of like comes back.
and but there's at that point, that's gotta be hard because really they're seeing it and there's nothing they can do about it at that point because they've already done what
They've done what they've done, but at least they get the chance to say that, you know what, like, I didn't do right,
Mhm,
and I wish I could have done better. So at least they have that awareness,
mhm.
saying, like, okay, you know, if I have that chance, or I don't want that chance to come back and be reincarnated, at least you have that, um, how can I say, that forgiveness to yourself.
Okay, so if they want to come back and, like, then they can be a better person when they come back
Exactly.
into another body. Because really they're I don't know, to me, I've been reading up a lot about all this, heaven and this and that, obviously with what happened with my oldest son, because it's just I still don't believe that he's gone.
Hmm.
So, I was reading that before you're born, you start off in heaven as a
Okay.
soul, and
Yeah.
then your body then you come down to earth and you're put into a like a human form,
Hmm.
and then when your job or whatever you were put here to do is done, then you go back. Is that how it works? I have lots of questions.
You can actually go back as much as you can still stay with the person. But yes, if their job is done, then they can definitely go back and just stay there if they wish, or still come back and help others.
Okay, so but they do start off in heaven, and then they're born here, and then they go
Yeah.
back, and then
So,
if they
like, for
choose.
example, your son Christian, you know, if he wants to be reincarnated again, he will come back in a child form again, all over again. So, sometimes when you bump into somebody, it's like, you look familiar. I've
Mhm.
seen you somewhere. That's what it is.
Oh my goodness. But
So it's
they,
your spirit knowing, like, oh, you know.
yeah, I've met this person before, but I don't know where. It's happened to me a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. So
So they can choose to come back, but they don't have to.
that's right.
And if not, then they just exist in heaven.
Yeah.
What is heaven like? You must know. I mean, I'm sure souls have told you what it's like. Like, is it like all fluffy clouds and they bounce around on, like, that's what
No,
I'm visioning?
no, no, no. I mean, I've had people asking me to ask their loved ones, how is it like in heaven and stuff like that. So it's basically what they want, what they're looking for. So if here on earth they enjoy just being in their rocking chair and having that cup of tea, that's their heaven. They're at peace. There's no more pain. There's no more
Mhm.
sorrow. It's just pure happiness and peace and love. So,
So Christian loved gardening. So is he up there gardening? And I mean, he was also a chef, and he loved cooking. So I'm visualizing him making beautiful meals for everybody and, working in his garden. Like, that's how I'm dealing with this whole thing, because it's hard that
mhm,
he's not here, but like, that's what he loves. So would he be doing that up there too?
yeah,
So he's
yeah.
he's basically doing what he was doing here, but he's not in a body form. Like, does he look like he looked, or he's just, what does he look like? Or anybody that's passed, what do they look like up there?
Uh, the thing is that it depends, because I've had people who've passed who died when they were elder,
Mhm.
but they came back looking like as if they were in their 30s.
Mhm.
So it all depends on, I guess, what their most enjoyable lifetime was.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I All right, I understand that now, cuz again, he may, who knows what he looks like. I don't know, like, I just can't visualize this whole thing, but to me it's like
Mm,
he's passed and he's on another stage of his journey. He's not gone. He's on
mhm.
another part of his journey.
Well, when I met with Christian, it was still like the age of 20.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, even at the age of 33, he looked like 20. Like, he always looked young. He always got asked for ID no matter where he went. So he's one of these blessed people that always looked young. So he looked like he was still in his 20s.
Yeah.
So you could actually see what he looked like, especially when he was telling you to do this.
And he had a bandana on him too.
I went through his things. He didn't wear bandanas often, but he had a white bandana in his good, in his stuff. So I'm sure when he was guarding and stuff, he had something like that on. Wow, interesting. Um, yeah, I've asked you about their life review and why sometimes you can or cannot see the person. I know you mentioned that whenever I talked to you too, because my dad came through as well, and my dad had passed a month before him. So we were actually lucky
Yeah.
because they were within like 4 or 5 months of passing. So even though they were busy doing everything they were doing, they still had time to come through.
Yeah.
And then I also, if someone passes from an illness, are they still sick on the other side, or does their illness or addiction or anything leave when they cross over? And you already said that everything gets left behind, like they're
Yeah.
at peace. So
Yeah.
they, are there any specific messages that seem to be repeated by loved ones who have passed? Like, what sort of advice do they give to us who are still here? Like, is there a message that you kind of remember that might have been repeated?
Well, when it comes to like your children,
Mhm.
The number one thing for them was nature itself.
Okay.
So if they feel the urge to just stop and like, I can't say being frozen in time, but just to like breathe in that gust of wind, that's a
Mhm.
sign stating that he's with them. People
Okay.
can leave. People can leave money. People can be, left feathers. Cardinals are a big one.
Yeah.
Cardinals are a big one. So if you see them, you know that they're there. Other times it'll be just a smell of that person, like a specific perfume, cologne, even baby powder, whatever it might be.
Mhm.
Certain scents to know that they're around you. Some people, even when they're asleep, they feel someone touching them or
Mhm.
giving them a hug or a kiss. So there's many different ways.
But, like, yeah, because I found a feather on my counter, like, I'm like, "Where did this come from?" Like, where on earth would a little white feather come from? So, I found that cardinals in my bird feeders all winter long. There was always 2 of them. And there's a female one too, because female cardinals are, like, brownish, but there was a plump always a plump red one and a skinny red one, and I'm
Okay.
like, "Okay, there's my dad and there's Christian," because Christian was skinny, my dad was a bit bigger. So, it was kinda weird because they were there all winter. They're not there anymore. My mom was saying too that she had a cardinal in her garden, and she never ever saw them before. So, we believe that it is my dad and
Hmm.
Christian coming to visit. And, money I haven't found. It'd be nice to find money, but my daughter
Even
says
if it's a dime or a nickel on the ground, it's the same
yeah,
thing.
my daughter said that she's been finding a lot of
Mhm.
coins around,
Oh,
so
good.
she truly believes that he's around too, because they were very close.
Mhm.
They were very close, they always hung out. But, like, message-wise, is
Mhm.
there anything that they kind of tell us who are still here? Like, do they tell us not to grieve, or do they tell us not to worry about them? That kind of thing. Is there a message like that that sometimes you hear
It depends on your
repeated?
level of awareness as well too, because sometimes you will be actually capable of connecting with them. Because I believe that everyone has a psychic ability,
Okay.
to at least have that little sense that, hey, like I heard a voice, I felt them, you know. But yeah, they're always going to be capable of giving you a message for sure.
Yeah,
But
that's what
you
I
have to be open to it, and not everyone is open. Some people can be scared, right? And I
yeah.
find I find unfortunately, which is true, like if you're on antidepressants and stuff like that, it will block, that wave.
Okay, I have to
Oh,
jump in.
okay.
Mm, yeah.
I have to jump in on this because so I was a pretty sensitive child,
Okay.
and I've seen and experienced a whole bunch of things. And when I was about, I want to say 19, I think it was, I had this unbelievable experience that spooked the hell out of me.
Mhm.
And since then, my sensitivity have gone down and down and down and down, and now it's like I have nothing, like nothing, you know.
Okay.
But uh I had what they refer to sleep paralysis, which I'm not convinced is sleep paralysis at all, you know.
Okay.
But yeah, how does one get back in touch with that gift?
That to be in touch with that gift, you actually have to be very well grounded and in tune with yourself, your intuition, and you can't doubt it either.
Mhm.
So, and like if you're taking anything, like I said, like any type of drugs, alcohol, medication that can actually block
Hmm.
anything here,
Mhm.
you're not going to be capable.
I've I live in a house that was built in 1893, and if there's a house that there should be activity in, it's this house.
Okay.
And yet nothing. This house, like I've had experiences in every other house that I've lived in my life, and this one nothing. Like not a peep. My
Okay.
kids say they My kids say there's something, but
Mhm.
but not me.
Stress can also be a huge factor too,
What was that?
because stress is a huge factor as well. Because if you're not grounded and you're stressed completely,
Wait a
everything
minute.
is
Incidentally, since we started the Seeker, I kind of lost it.
Yeah, so it's been what, about 10 years? Well,
Yep.
12 years.
yeah. So there's a lot of factors
Stress.
that can actually keep you from having that ability back again, but everything has to do with a lot of grounding. So really like forgetting everything, being clear-minded. So
Hmm.
yeah.
Cool. Thanks.
No problem.
Yeah, but well, I mean, talking about stress too, like the stress of Christian passing or your child passing, like that's a big stress on
Yes.
you. So that can
Mm.
what, block him coming through,
No, it's
really?
just
Or
basically you wanting to hear his voice, to see him, basically.
so that means he can come through, or me being so worried that I'm not seeing him, that's causing
A
him
lot
not to
of
come through?
them, a lot of them like to talk to you and see you while you are sleeping because it's less scary.
Yep.
So you'll
And
probably wake up and say, like, was this a dream? Or, I felt somebody beside me, like you just wake up, let's say at 1:30 in the morning, 2 o'clock, and you're
yeah.
like there was somebody here.
It was, very strange because whenever he passed, like, he was in Calgary, so I spent the month of December out in Calgary. We had his funeral service and everything, and I was staying with my daughter and her partner, and there was one night I woke up and I was telling my daughter, I said, "This is really weird." I saw Christian come down. He was in a yellow space pod, in a yellow space suit, and he was right there in front of me. And that same night, she goes, "That's really weird because Zach was telling me that the spaceship landed in the middle of Montreal Road, because they're both from Cornwall, landed in the middle of Montreal Road, and Christian came out of it and jumped in the front seat of the car and just
Hmm.
drove around with us." And it was like, really, that was strange because I mean, both of us saw him as something in a spacesuit
Hmm.
same night. So maybe, and it was during the night. It was like a dream. But my mother, since my dad passed, wakes up during the night many, many times. And a lot of times it's the same time during the night. Like it could be like 5:20 or something. Suddenly she's awake. She can't get back to sleep. But I heard that that's, like you said, that's the time that the spirits visit with us. So I keep telling her, well, it's because dad is visiting you at that time.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
because you're saying that when we're sleeping, it's less scary.
Exactly. Because not everybody, I can't say doesn't want to see them, but it's a fear, right?
Yeah.
Of not understanding, especially if it comes to a religious aspect or whatnot. Because some people have different beliefs into this. So, but no, it's definitely less scary for people, especially little children or whatnot, that, you don't see the person, but you can feel them or dream of them, that it feels so real.
Yeah, because some people say that they wake up and the person is standing at the foot of the bed or something.
Yeah.
I kind of think that I'm going crazy sometimes too, because you're kind of in between dream and waking, and you're not sure what you're seeing. But I often see things floating around above me in my room. Like this was before Christian and my father passed too, so I'm like, it looked like a red flannel shirt, and I'm like, okay, am I going crazy? Because this thing is just wafting in the room, and then I open my eyes, close my eyes a couple of times, and it's gone. So I'm wondering if what I'm seeing, am I seeing somebody, or am I just half asleep or something? I don't know. But that happens often. So who knows what that is? Can you enlighten me or something? Does anybody else see a flannel shirt floating around above them? I thought I was going crazy at one point. It was
It
scary.
could also be a message too from somebody previously who passed that was near you who had that same shirt, who would always wear it. As much as you can have that, what I like to call a spiritual plane,
Hmm.
because some people have that passes right through their house. It's just one specific place, one line in their house where the activity is going to be the highest.
Oh,
So
okay.
yeah. So people can actually have that through their house as well. So you'll have different spirits from different places. So this is like here in my house here. And I've got quite the line that passes through mine. So yeah, it was quite interesting.
Well, you have a lineup of spirits waiting to come through. So is it ever like there's a whole bunch of voices and stuff, and then somebody's pushing to the front to come and give the message? You
There's
ever
a
had
lot
that?
of times, like we had a house, we own two houses, so we had one next to us and this one here. But the house next to us was an 18th century home, but
Mm-hmm.
it was really starting to get really bad, and you needed to do a lot of repairs. So I said, you know what,
Mm-hmm.
we'll just knock it down, give us more room and whatnot. Wow, the owner of that place, way like I'm talking like 1902 here, you
Mm-hmm.
know, uh, just came by and said to me, I don't agree what you did. That was my house. My house.
Wow. I'm getting
Yeah.
goosebumps.
So, and I mean, like I was blocked straight on like a brick wall in my kitchen. And he was sitting right there on my kitchen table, angry at me, really
Wow.
angry at me. Yeah. And I said, listen, I am terribly sorry. You know, there's no disrespect in this whatsoever. You know, when you lived into it, it was beautiful. It was fantastic. You know, it was stable, a safe house.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's not. And I said, it's something that we need to do. You know, I
Mm-hmm.
said, you guys had the well right in your basement open
Whoa.
up, you know. I said, so all the humidity is coming up, so it's
Mm-hmm.
causing mold, it's causing a lot of illnesses. I
Mm-hmm.
said, so unfortunately, I said, you know, we have no choice. Like times have changed, unfortunately, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I go, but there was no disrespect whatsoever. You know, it's like you had a beautiful home, and I'm sure you had a lot of beautiful memories in there.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and he said, yes. He said, and he even explained to me how he actually had a horse barn right in the backyard with a couple of chickens. So, yeah,
Wow.
yeah. So, and when we were digging, actually, not too long ago, because we wanted to clean up the place and all that, we actually found the calf of the bone of a
Yeah, yeah.
horse with the
Oh my
horseshoe.
goodness. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So, yeah.
So after you had explained all that, was he less angry? Did he ever come back afterwards or?
No, he was less angry and he didn't come back, but he, like he said, he goes like he's hoping for us to rebuild
Mhm,
basically so
mhm.
that he can visit there. So I said, well,
Wow.
I said, you know, it all depends if the people still want you in. I said, not everybody wants spirits in their homes.
Yeah,
I said, so you'll have to ask permission. So I said, if they allow it, that's perfect. If not, so
yeah,
yeah.
you're right. Some people are scared. Now, are all spirits good, or are some spirits that you come across like evil spirits? How does that work?
Well, a lot again, like it depends. If you go back into the pagan ways, way back when, there was
Mhm.
no such thing really as evil, sort of thing. Like everyone is good and evil within themselves, right? People do right and wrong.
Yeah.
Okay. As soon as religion started to come, the Christianity, that's where the devil came in. That's where, you know, things started to progress, putting more fear into people and whatnot.
Mhm.
So again, it depends. Like I'm not saying anything about anyone's religion or anything like that. Everyone has their own beliefs.
Yeah.
So I can't really um, comment or put down on anything like that. But for me personally, I just know that they'll have some type of anger, but probably because of something that's happening to them or happened that they, like I had an angry spirit here in this house who actually got murdered in the back fields here.
Oh,
And
wow.
he didn't want to let go of my son because he was always having that communication with him, talking with him at night and laughing.
Mhm.
But and I'd always hear like this at night, 3 knocks all the
Wow.
time
Wow.
to get my attention.
Mhm.
And I felt that anger and I wasn't ready. I wasn't ready. because I wasn't grounded either. So when I actually had to confront him, like he's like, well, like basically it's about time, that
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
talking to me here. But he just basically wanted to be set free. He wanted to be set free. So
Because
because of the murder that happened to him, he did not. He had the opportunity to leave, but he
okay.
decided to stay because of anger.
Okay, so it's not like he was trapped. He had kind of trapped himself. He could
He
have
trapped
gone,
himself.
he could
Yeah,
have crossed over, but he
exactly. Yeah.
chose not to. But why would he choose not to? Because
Because
like
a lot of
why?
people are, again, through the 7 stations of grief, it's almost the same thing as the dead, the denial.
Yeah.
I'm still alive here. I'm not dead. So they kind of like stay.
Okay. Yeah, and that's what I was always worried about. Like when
You're supposed
somebody
to be angry.
passes,
So yeah,
yeah, when somebody passes, do they realize they've passed? But you're saying they feel like they're still alive, probably, and they're in denial that they've passed over.
yeah, and they want to, complete whatever's been happening. Like the guy that got stabbed here, he just wanted revenge against somebody else. But with time, he realized, okay, like I am not alive here. I'm actually dead. So he actually forgave the other person. He says, I forgive them. He goes, because this was his words. I'm an asshole. I was a real asshole to him. I didn't do any good to him. I stole from him, and I got what I deserved. He goes, but now I want to leave. So
So, but he can leave by himself. Like, what did
you
somebody
actually
have?
need to actually help them. They can't just leave. You actually have to help them. You have to open the portal, open the veil for them. For me, I asked my guided spirits who are with me to help
Mhm.
him transcend. So
So you feel now he's been able to go.
yes, because he's no longer here. Yeah, he's no longer here. I don't hear the knocks. I don't even feel that anger presence around either. So
Wow. Well, it's interesting. Now, my father passed at 89, which I can accept his passing because he
mhm,
did have cancer. It was treatable but not curable. And then bef- towards the end of his life, he got a secondary cancer, which at that point he said that's enough. At 89, he's lived a good life. He's okay to go. That was the hardest thing. My dad sat us down and told us that, and then told us, where to find everything and how to deal with everything. He was sharp as a tack right to the end, but
yes, yeah,
we had closure because we were with him.
yeah,
But that's the problem with my son, who passed massive heart attack at 33.
mhm,
And that's what worries with me, because none of us were with him when he passed.
mhm,
Like, he was alone. He probably, just his cat was with him. I have a really hard time with that. And I just have a hard time with him passing at such an early age. There was so much that he still needed to do.
mhm.
And you're saying there's 7 stages of grieving. Like, how does one deal with all this? Like, how's
There is no timeline. You grieve how you feel you need to grieve, because a lot of people will tell you, haven't you grieved enough? Like you should be done,
Mhm.
but that causes a lot of anger. And you need to have that stage where you accept the fact that he is gone, and then you just process the grief that he actually is gone, that there's nothing you could have done,
Mhm.
but still a lot of people can't go past any of these, and they still want that reassurance. So that's where I get the call saying, is this person okay? Is that person, is like still with us? So that's where I get to help them along the way. But still the people are still like, oh, I still wish I could have, you
Mhm.
know, been there. But that's still part of your grieving process, that you need to, forgive yourself to say, yes, I wasn't there, you know, and this is where you're what it's called, the bargaining. Like, what if I could have been there? What if I could have prevented it?
Yeah.
So you're still kind of like in that stage, you know, the what if.
Yeah,
But
I am.
when it's that person's time, or even if it's not their time, whether they inflict it upon themselves or not, as a human, there's nothing you can do, if you're not there.
Yeah.
So all you can do is just basically wish them the best in their afterlife, still send them that love,
Mm-hmm.
so, you know what, you're missed, we miss you, like whatever reasons that needed to happen, that you're over there. I just hope everything is okay,
Mm-hmm.
you know?
I've got somebody is saying, once the spirit is set free, might they still visit with
Absolutely.
us?
Absolutely. Absolutely. They're never forgotten. They're never really gone.
Yeah, they're always close by. That's what people say. They're always close by. And somebody was saying too at one point, if they're seeing us all the time, are they watching us when we're in the shower? Do they see everything? Like, that's kind of a scary thought, really, that they can be around and guide us and watch us all the time. So
Yeah.
is that possibly, can that happen? Like, they can, see what that's a I know it's a stupid question, but like,
It's not
oh my
a
God,
stupid
is my
question
son seeing me?
whatsoever.
Is my son seeing me sitting on the toilet or something? I don't want him to see that, Yeah.
I find it depends on the spirit themselves. Like if you had, let's say, a little toddler that would
Mhm.
always never leave you alone
Oh,
while
yes.
you're on the toilet,
Yes.
they loved it because they could never get enough of being beside you. There
Yeah.
is that possibility that if that child did pass, it's the same thing, that you feel the presence there as well. So,
Yeah.
it depends on the scenario. Like, let's say if you
Yeah.
had a husband, I mean, I don't want to go in complete detail, but if you guys used to have fun in the shower,
Yeah.
so.
Yeah, that's a way of looking at it, I guess. Yeah, because I think
Yeah.
every mother has that, they want 2 minutes to themselves, and there's always that, mom, mom, kids gotta come in. It's always
Yeah.
the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of one of these things I was thinking about the other day, like, oh my God, like, what if, they're seeing you all the time, because they say, like, or they become our guide, like our guardian angels, and they guide us. And because
Yeah.
my daughter said too, like, if she has something that she's having a hard time with, she'll ask her brother, what should I do? And she
Yeah.
says there's always a sign.
See,
They're always
they're,
there
they're
for us.
never they're never gone. They're always with us. When you need them and you call upon them, they will give you a sign.
Yeah, I
Mm.
know. Well, my Sheldon, my hubby, was saying too, well, if they're all on the other side, how can there be so much room for everybody there? All these thousands of millions of people. Like, he doesn't believe. Like, I
It's an
believe
energetic
there's
field.
another side. Yeah,
It's
they're not
it's
there in person.
yeah. I mean, like we're billions on this earth. It's like basically saying, like everyone turns on the switch of the light at the same time.
Yeah, you're right.
You
But
know,
they're not there in human form. They're,
energetically.
but okay, so spirits can see each other,
Yes,
can they? And they can speak to each other.
they can speak to each other. Yeah. Sometimes, let's say, like husband and wife. Sometimes they'll be with each other. Other times, it's like, okay, you know what, like you go your way, I'm gonna go mine. I want my peace and quiet, sort of thing. So it's still that little interaction that they have, but again, it's just very peaceful, very
Okay.
peaceful. So they know their boundaries. They know what to say, or what to do.
Wow.
So if you had a husband that was always chit chatty, and like, oh my God, like, can I breathe for 1 minute here?
Yeah, yeah.
Like you'll be the same way there, but at the same time, you're like, okay, I gotta go now. So you actually get that peace and quiet. So it's not like, you can
Wow.
speak to whoever you want. So
Yeah, because I'm just visualizing that he's, Christian's doing his thing over there, probably rapping with Tupac right now. And, because apparently that rapper passed too, and,
yeah,
still doing his thing over
yeah.
there. I don't know. It's just hard to accept that he's not here. He's
It's
somewhere
understandable
else.
because when you're a parent, the biggest, hardest loss is your child.
It is. It is.
no matter how young or how old.
Yeah, what's kind of helping me is I've joined a few Facebook groups where, there's other grieving mothers telling their stories, and it's really helping me because it makes me feel like I'm not alone.
Yeah. And that's the best thing that you can do, because like to connect with others who have the same experience as you is the best thing you could do, because that way you can talk about it, talk about exactly how you're feeling, the pain
Yeah.
you're feeling, the joy at the same time, it's an incredible feeling to share that with others who've experienced the same.
Yeah, and every day is different. Like you just, some days I'm okay, some days I'm not, but he's
Yeah.
always there. He's always there. Like I'm always thinking about him. Plus my other two as well. But
Mhm.
really the hardest thing is the grieving mother that has lost their only child. That is so hard because I do have two other children
Mhm.
on some of these groups. The only child is gone. And one thing that one of the mothers was saying, that I have nobody that calls me mom, but yet the child is still there. I mean, you're still a mother.
Yeah.
So that's hard.
Yeah.
Wow. Do you have any other questions? Like,
I do. How does somebody set up a session with you?
You
that's
can actually contact me through email at creasaladmedium@gmail.com.
Okay, we'll put that on the comments so people can get in touch with you if they need to. I'm definitely have to set up a session with you because I like my mother-in-law passed away in 2019,
Okay.
and she was trying to tell me something. Like she kept doing the same movement, and she kept, looking at me and doing the same thing, and she was trying to tell me something, and I don't know, and it's driving me crazy.
like
So
when she was passing, you mean? She was trying to tell you
no,
something?
while she was in the hospital, like she was on a feeding, she was on a feeding tube and on a breathing tube, and she couldn't talk, right? And she couldn't communicate with people really. So, but she was in her bed, and she was like move, gesturing me to come to her side. So I'd go to her side, and then she would tell me something, and then she'd point to my husband, and then she'd look at me again, and then she did the same gesture
Wow.
with her hands. But I mean, I don't know what the hell she was trying to tell me.
Mm.
Went
Okay.
through everything, like, are you telling me this? Is that what you mean? Is that what you're saying? Like, no, and she was getting so damn frustrated because I couldn't get it through. Like, I'm like, I'm sorry, I don't understand. So yeah, I really would be curious to know what she was trying to tell me.
Okay.
So, all right. Well, I guess it's that's it for today, guys. An hour went by in no time.
Well, I told you I had 16 questions. I had lots of questions. Oh, the last one. Can you contact pets who have passed, and how does a pet communicate with us?
Oh, that's interesting.
Well, yes, you can definitely connect with pets, but it's a lot harder because they'll say, "Can I speak with Fluffy?" And you contact Fluffy. Well, here you have like over 2,000 Fluffies in front of you, you know. So it's you got to be like more specific. Okay, was it like a Persian cat? Was it the tabby? Okay, like I'm seeing now, let's say 10 cats with a bell. Did it have a bell or not? So you got to be a little bit more precise, because yeah, pets are a hard one.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I
I
know you did
can
say too,
imagine.
there's a lot of people called Christian, so you needed a little bit,
Yeah, I
to
need
go
the first
on,
and last name. Yeah, because
because
there
there's
was
a
actually
lot.
one person who gave me their first and last name, and there were three people who came up because they had the same first and last
Oh,
name. So I
wow.
had to describe each one of them what I see to say, okay, I'm seeing this one, I'm seeing that age, and I'm seeing this person. She goes, okay, it's this one right here. Perfect. So I had to let go of the other two so I can just connect with the one.
Hmm.
But
Interesting.
when you do connect with a pet, how does a pet communicate? What are the kind of things do they say? Like, I mean,
It's
how do you?
basically the energetic field, right? So you can sense they're here on Earth, they just meow or bark, right?
Okay, okay, yeah,
But
yeah.
over on the other side, you can just sense their energetic messages that they want to send to you, sort of thing. So yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I
Interesting.
actually had one person who wanted to know about their next door neighbor's pet who passed away that they were really connected to. And I mean, even the dog was like, "Why are you connecting with me? Like, I'm not your master,"
Mm,
you know? And he was confused. And she's like, "Well, I just want to know if you're all right." And he's like, "Yeah, I'm fine, Luz, but I want to see my master."
mm, mhm.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Mm.
Wow.
Well, thank you so much for being with us today. This was super
Well, thank you.
interesting. I'm sorry there was not enough questions. Like it would have been nice for people to ask more, but I mean, My-Liis had questions for everyone. So,
Yeah, I think I did. Yeah.
Sounds
all
good.
right. Thank you so much. Have a great day.
Well, thank you. You too. Take care.
All right.
Yeah, thank you so much. It was enlightening, and even whenever we connected with you a few months ago, it was really, really good, especially for my youngest son because he felt like he really was talking to his older brother. So it
There's
was
a
really,
huge connection with the siblings. Yeah.
yeah, really
Huge
good
connection.
therapy for him too, because he felt he didn't realize that Christian's time was so short and he would have wanted to spend more time doing stuff with him. And I know that's been really hard on him, but just
Yeah.
being able to communicate with his older brother through you, I know it helped him a lot.
I'm
Thank you
glad.
so
I'm glad.
much.
You're
All
very
right.
welcome.
Have a good day.
Thank you. You
Bye
too. Take
bye.
care.
Thank you. Bye.
That was super interesting. It's 11:01. So, do you have
Holy
any
cow.
closing
Well,
arguments? No. Closing
no,
words?
no, that was really interesting. And I mean, when we did our session, I wasn't able to ask all those questions. Obviously, we were not there for that kind of reason. We were there to
Mhm.
communicate with Christian and my dad and our Josh, a friend of ours who had passed at the age of 27 many, many years ago. So it was kind of nice to understand because there's so many questions. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
So many questions.
Great. All right. Well, that's it for us for today. So I hope you guys have a great week. Don't miss next week. We have Lee Theodore on the show, Citizen of the Year, Lee Theodore. So we'll chat with him and see. My question is, how does somebody become Citizen of the Year? Like, main question.
Exactly. Well, have yourself a super duper day,
And
everybody.
and see you next week. Bye.
Bye.